What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 20 Podcast. I'm your host, DJ Spider. Our show is brought to you by Beatsource, the music streaming service for DJs that play everything. Beatsource has got all the music you could need for every gig, along with expertly curated playlists, songs no other record pool has, custom edits, and so much more. Visit Beatsource.com for a free 30-day trial, or you should be happy you're listening to this show because we got a 60-day trial. That's right. Use our code THE20 and bump it up to 60 days. Thank you to everyone that has been coming out to my gigs, supporting the podcast, sending me messages, and all that. As always, you can send me a direct message at DJ Spider on Instagram, at DJ SPIDER, as well as you can link to all my other pages on there and see my upcoming gigs, which I want to tell you about. February 20th, Sunday, I will be in Las Vegas doing my debut show at Marquee Las Vegas. So book your flights. Come on out. Let's go. Meet me in the booth. Come on, baby. All right, now on to our guest of the day. We've got someone incredible for you. Our guest today is one of the most prolific, successful, and probably hardest working songwriters in modern history. He has given DJs, that's right, us, DJs, countless hit records to play for crowds globally over the past 20 plus years. And I mean hit records, songs that I know all of you guys play. Smashes such as Justin Bieber's What Do You Mean, Usher's Caught Up, Dan and Shay's 10,000 Hours, Chris Brown's I Can Transform Ya, as well as the 13 times platinum Despacito remix with Justin Bieber. He does a ton of work with Justin Bieber. His catalog has registered over 350 million sales worldwide, dozens of multi-platinum certifications, and 100 billion streams and counting. At the same time, his entrepreneurial portfolio includes H Factor Water, Wonder Bread Dispensary, Gaming Team 100 Thieves, NFT projects and collaborations, and a joint venture with Def Jam for his own birthday music record label. Above all that, what I learned from this is that he's a humble, amazing, and inspirational human that I was extremely lucky to sit down with and learn from and talk to. So I hope you guys enjoy the conversation as much as I did. Please welcome to the show, Poo Bear. It's the 20 Podcast, and we have got Poo Bear on the show today. Make some noise, everybody. Make some noise. Let's go. The crowd's cheering.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Yes. Yo, thank you. I feel good just you saying that to me.
Yes. Every day.
I mean, such a good way to start a conversation and to start off anything right there. I love it. You know, makes me feel good. And, you know, for everyone out there, it's not my birthday, but, you know.
Every day you wake up is your birthday.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes,
So You're right. We all got to feel special, especially during these crazy times, right? Yeah, so
absolutely.
That's amazing. So, I mean, you know, you are known for saying happy birthday as your greeting. Like, where did that come from? How did you start doing that?
I started saying happy birthday. I used to be really shy when I was younger, and I just figured out I would just figure out ways to make myself feel comfortable. And one of the ways was me practicing being myself at all times. And I just started saying happy birthday. I might have been like 14 years old. I was in high school, and right. I started saying it, and I was saying it just as like just something to make myself feel comfortable, because I've always been strange or like unique, and right. I would just say happy birthday because I want people to feel like I want them to know like I'm crazy immediately. Then that way maybe they feel comfortable enough to be themselves when they introduce themselves, because nobody really introduces themselves. They always introduce a representative. You know, it's never them who they really are. So I try to break the ice with happy birthday. Then it turned into a philosophy of like every day we wake up, you know, it should be a birthday. Like you shouldn't wait till one day out of the year to feel really special or important. You should like feel that way every day. It doesn't have to be over the top, but you should definitely like feel like it's your birthday, because I feel like, you know, I think when we sleep, we're kind of playing around with death, and then we come back to life. So every day we're really reborn again. Every day we wake up. So,
yo, I love it. That's so true, and it's a good way to look at things. You know, especially like I was saying nowadays. You know, a lot of people have been going through a lot of hard times and, ups and downs through everything. So any little thing you could do to lift people's spirit and give them something. And the not being yourself. I think it's so important to be yourself nowadays. People
Absolutely.
just really want to fit in or be what everyone else wants them to be, especially with social media and all that. And you got to be yourself. The people that are themselves are the people that shine through and that, are the most successful, and most inspirational. I think that
originality.
Right. Yeah. When you try to fit in with everything, you blend in, you want to stand out. It's good to be different.
Stand out.
Yeah, that's true. Man, all right. Well, we're so happy to have you on the show. I mean, you're a living legend, and you have, this show is through the lens of DJs. So, the type of DJs that play everything. It's like we're open format DJs. We DJ everything from the smallest little bar to the biggest Vegas clubs to special events to all that. And I feel like your music, you've given us so much music to play, so thank you from all the DJs. And you're just over the past 20 years, your music has resonated with me personally, as well as I know the entire DJ community. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. Thank you for supporting me, man. I appreciate it. I never take it lightly. Never take it lightly.
The DJs have your back, just going back to probably one of the first records you made, I think when you were in high school, correct me if I'm wrong, was with 112, Peaches and Cream and Dance With Me.
Dance With Me. I was in Anywhere was my first. I was 16. I was in the 10th grade, and we could do it anywhere. That was my 10th very grade first co-write. I was in 10th grade. Yeah.
How did you even know the lyrics, to even talk about that stuff? That's crazy.
I did it with Duran and Q from 112. So it was collaborative, and that was my first. We were young. We were in Atlanta, man. You grew up fast in Atlanta. Everybody lost their virginity really young in Atlanta. So they're like perverted, nasty records. They were it's we grew up listening to Two Live Crew. When we were able, when I got out of a really strict household, I was listening to the worst music ever when I moved to Atlanta. So you get influenced by the perversion and at a young age, and it was the blessing that they were able to take a liking to me and write with me at that young age and give me an opportunity, give me a chance to really be a part of that record. So thank you 112, thank you Bear. My cousin discovered 112 and Jagged Edge at one talent show, and
at one talent show.
They were at one talent show, Jagged Edge and 112 performing. They didn't have those names, but they were. He ended up, managing 112, and then he was like, if the guys like you, maybe you could write with them. And then that was my chance. And then I went in the studio with Duran, and we came up with Anywhere.
Wow, that is incredible. Classic records. I mean, I've been DJing for a really long time, over 20 years. Yeah. So I got those on vinyl. They were in my crate in the very front. Every time I would go to a gig, I had the times. I knew when I played them, what I mixed them with, the bass lines they went with.
Yeah.
And they're still
plays, man. I was somewhere last night and they just started playing. I was like, I wonder if they're playing this because they know. And I'm like, nobody knows me. They're just playing the record. The DJ was just playing Dance With Me. And I looked at my wife. I was like, they still play. I can't believe they still play this record. She was like, they play this song every night somewhere in the club, in the world, everywhere.
Everywhere.
I'm like, wow. Yeah. And I'm like, it's hard for me to fathom that. It's just so long ago. I was 16.
That's crazy, man. That's unbelievable. But that's a testament to it, and that's what I'm saying. Where you make these unforgettable club records, and I think club records are known as sometimes, especially nowadays, microwave type music. Where it's
they are, they're
come
and
go.
They are,
yeah. But and also songwriters don't always have such a long shelf life or whatever you want to call it. From
it's 2 years, 2 years, 2 to 3, 2 years, 2 to 3 years is the life, and that's if you're really good.
Right. So that's unbelievable. And you've really proven yourself over time with just constantly coming with these records, that DJs can play and that I think club goers want to sing along to and dance to. And you just have that ear where you can keep it I don't know, catchy enough, people want to sing
Simple,
along,
simple and
and
effective. Yeah,
simple.
simple and effective.
Right.
Yep, simple enough for kids to sing along, but effective enough for a Harvard scholar to be
Yes.
mentally stimulated. You know what I mean? So it's like this fine line of like simple and effectiveness that's able to like resonate with with the majority of people.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a blessing. I don't take it for granted, and I'm appreciative. I don't feel like everything I write is a hit. I'm just grateful that I'm still my frequencies are still in the universe, and I'm still able to have records out and records on the charts, and it's cool.
Yeah.
But I don't take it
Amazing.
lightly. I know it's a blessing, and I know that the average lifespan of a songwriter is 2 to 3 years tops. So
Right. That's nuts. And do you ever think of DJs when you're making these records? Like, is that ever a thought in your head?
you know what? At times, yeah. When I'm directly making a record for the club, radio club, I am thinking about what DJs are like. What would they be able to mix this with? What would this, what would come? What would be great before? What would be great after this? Or like those are little things that a lot of people don't think about. But I am thinking about the tempo. I'm thinking about all those things, and that comes back. It comes down to a DJ because like those are the things that make the club move, and keeping it at a certain BPM, and all those things are really important. And I'm definitely thinking about the DJ when I'm making a club record, and just making sure that I feel like it's gonna inspire and get everybody going and get the DJs going, man. That's the goal. Because when I can move the DJs, then you guys translate it and you put it out to the world, and when you with your passion behind it, you can feel it. So I'm making records for the people, but I am definitely making records for the DJ. I want the DJs to love the records and be like, oh man, this goes perfect with this record. Like without even having to think about it. It's like, oh, this is the same key. Oh, wait a minute, it's the same tempo. You know what I mean? So those are little things that I definitely think about.
Yeah, exactly. Like your records are inspirational in such a way to DJs that like you inspire us, I think, to make routines out of them, and they'll spark, okay,
Oh,
this goes with that song and that kind of thing. Or,
right,
we know the crowd will dance to this in Vegas or wherever I am for
right,
this, or if I drop
right,
this. And,
right.
it's just that's cool to hear, that the DJs can have that kind of influence on the
Yes.
production and such like a back and forth thing. I mean, because even
DJs
just to
are
name a few. Oh, sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
DJs are every. I just feel like the DJs are the most important. I mean, I just do. I feel like they're. You guys are liaison to the world. You are.
Yeah.
You're our representatives, or like you're the ones that display our music, and you're either gonna keep playing it or you're not. So it's really important that you guys are passionate about it, and that you're just important to us always.
Right. Thanks. Yeah. I mean, from the 112 to like Usher, Caught Up. I was just trying to think of ones that are always in my DJ set still, like
Yeah, peaches and
Usher,
cream. You
Caught
still play
Up.
peaches and cream?
Yeah, I mean Peaches and Cream, and like I said, I have it on record. Over here, like I remember having to go and save up, and get all this stuff on vinyl, before I could
Right,
just download it. And I
right.
mean, and Usher, Caught Up, like Where Are You Now, Jack You with Justin Bieber.
Yeah, yeah,
I
that was
mean, and
big.
some of these songs were almost like I don't know, pivotal points for
Oh no, they
music in
changed.
a
They
way.
changed. Where you now changed the direction of music.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And,
Like
and
there
I
were.
could see it firsthand. Like, I was in Vegas at that point every week,
Yeah.
and so you're like, wow, where do I play this? What do I play this with?
Right,
It's
right, right,
80,
right. It was
80
so
something
original.
BPM. It goes to a
Yeah.
weird drop.
Drop.
I got to see
Yeah.
what the crowd thinks, and then so it's crazy because as a DJ, you're watching the tastes change too, and you're
Right. What
figuring
works
out
and
how
what
to
doesn't work.
bring it
Yeah.
in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that one was such a change, and then even like I Can
Since
Transform You, Chris
oh
Brown.
you remember this? I Can Transform You. That was another one that was not the
Huge.
typical club record. Yeah, but it wasn't like your typical. It was Maze. I did that record with Swiss Beats, so it was like he is the club. You know what I mean? He understands club sonics the best. But
Right.
yeah, I Can Transform You, man. I wish. I hate that. that was a time when Chris Brown and Rihanna got into that altercation, and
Yeah.
nobody would work with him. And I was like, I'll work with him. Like everybody deserves a second chance. You know what I'm saying? So I went to
Right.
Orlando and I did that record and like 4 other records on that album.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, but that was cool. That record got me. That record introduced me to Swedish House Mafia. They reached out to me. David Guetta, all the like EDM DJs in like
Yeah.
2010 because of Transform You. All started like David Guetta took me on tour with him, and I was writing on a jet with
Wow.
him. Yeah, so
That's crazy.
and then Swedish House Mafia, Layback Luke, all these DJs I met based on that record Transform You because they all were like, "Yo, this is electronic." It was like the introduction melodically to what they were seeing EDM was going to evolve into, and I didn't even know what I was doing, and I'm trying to write. I didn't even know how to write an EDM record at the time, and I'm like trying to write over. I'm trying to write over the drop, like the main part that you're not supposed to do anything over. I'm trying to write over it, and I had no clue. Like, yo, this is supposed to be like the drop is supposed to be by itself, and but that record opened the door for the electronic community. It was crazy, like literally David Guetta. I mean, I can go down the list of all the DJs that flew me to either Amsterdam or Ibiza. Ibiza. I'm trying to say it the right way. Um,
I'm with you. I know. I'm like
yeah,
Ibiza,
right.
Ibiza.
It
I
just
don't know.
feels bad to say it the right way. I feel like I'm picking on somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's crazy. And are you referring to Where Are You Now, like the Jack U one, or I Can Transform
Come
You?
up. I Can Transform You was
Wow.
2010, and that's when
Yeah.
like David Guetta, Layback Luke, I can go on like all these different DJs from the Netherlands, from Paris, from Spain. They're all flying me over, and they were like, I was like, what made you? I'm like, how do you know about me? They're like, I Can Transform You. Like, we love this record. I'm like, whoa. I would have never
Yeah.
translated that into turning into EDM DJs wanting to work with me. It was strange. But
Right.
where you now changed music forever. Where you now there was no music on the radio that had a drop with nothing,
No.
with just like a little
None.
voice, a little vocal sample. That was unheard of. Like they were like everybody was like, "Where's the bridge?" So that, and then after Where You Now, every song had that little drop
Yep. It's so
for
true.
like still to this day, like there's still people that won't let it go. But like from like 2015 to 2018, it was like a little vocal chop. Here goes the post hook. It's a little vocal chop, and it's like,
Yep.
whoa, this changed the direction of music, literally.
No,
So
that's
that,
so
yeah,
true.
yeah, man.
That's crazy. And I mean, I was thinking of other ones like I'm the One from DJ
I'm the
Khaled's
one.
album.
Yeah, that was
So
just,
so simple, like you said, so simple, but everyone wants to, it
yeah.
sticks with people,
It's
the
clever. It's simple, but when you listen to the wordplay, um, see the money don't lie. Yeah. See, looking at the truth, money never lie. Like the words of it were, see you watching, don't run out of time. They were real like rap bars, like double meanings, and so it's like when people really listen to it melodically, yeah, it can move you, and it's catchy. It's like a nursery rhyme. That's a part of the secret. But lyrically, it was bars, it was metaphors, it was
yeah.
on double entendre. So it was one of those things that when I first got the record, when I first got the music, DJ Khaled, he sent me something, and I didn't. It was something else somebody had wrote, and I was like, "Why are you sending me something else that somebody wrote?" And then he went and he played it for Justin, and Justin was like, "Look, I like the music, but you got to let Pooh Bear write it." And so then Khaled sent me. He was like, "Yo, Justin said he loves this, but you got to write it." And I went in. He booked the studio for me. I wrote "I'm the One" in like 20 minutes.
Wow.
I did all the parts all the singing parts and everything in 20 minutes. And then Khaled was like, "Yo, this is a #1 record." And I'm just thinking like, it's cool. It didn't sound like anything I've ever heard before. So I was like trying to figure like, how does this go #1? Because it doesn't sound like anything I've ever heard before in my life. You know.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it ended up being Khaled's only #1 on Hot 100, his biggest record to date.
That's
So
really,
it's a
I
blessing.
didn't
Yeah.
realize that. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
Wild Thoughts went #2. All those other records that went like #3, #2. I'm the One was his only number. This is only Hot 100 #1 in his career.
Wow. Man,
I'm
it all
blessed to
comes
be a
back to
part of.
that
Blessed to be.
simplicity too.
Yeah. And I'm blessed to be a part of that because like when I look back through my career, thank God I've been blessed to be able to be a part of these artists, whether they're still relevant or not. I'm a part of
Yeah.
their biggest songs. And
Yeah.
like, like you can go to 112 and you can't think of 112. I say you heard 112, they'd be like, no. I'm like, you ever heard of Peaches and Cream? They're like, I love that song. So people remember the song more than they remember the actual artist. It's
It's
crazy how
so
that
true.
works.
Yeah.
So it's just a blessing to be a part of every artist that I work with. I can say that I had something to do with their biggest hit, and it's
Yeah.
really awesome, man. I mean, down to Daddy Yankee. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man, this is
Right, that's the
crazy.
thing. You don't really like. You're not the kind of the kind of songwriter that's limited to just one
No, or
genre,
I would have
or
been gone. I would have
tempo,
been
or
gone.
even
I'd have been gone
language.
years. Yeah, I would have been gone like 15 years ago. If I wasn't like constantly changing genres, like I lived in Kingston, I wrote reggae. I got '1 reggae songs. I got,
Really? Like
10,000
which one?
hours. I wrote Jacure. I did like a lot of Jacure album. I did two
Wow,
albums: World Cry, Unconditional Love, Find That Girl. I did all those songs. I
amazing,
did both albums in their entirety. I wrote there. I lived in Kingston, Jamaica. So I
amazing,
did. I worked with Movado. I worked with Damian Marley, Junior Gone. I worked with I lived in Kingston and I did, I worked with Zach Brown Band. I went to the country and I did 10,000 hours
crazy.
that day.
Yeah,
So, and then, for me, I just always wanted to be able to have success in every genre and not be limited because nobody expects that. Like, nobody expects for me to be able to, do a song like Where Are You Now and then go to a record like Despacito and then go to a record like 10,000 Hours and then, go to a record like the Japanese. I wrote a #1 Japanese record for an artist named Utada. And we had the record, we had a #1 song in Japan and it was on the video game Kingdom Hearts.
okay,
Yeah, yeah, but it's just for me. I've always just wanted to prove that I could write and have success outside of R&B, and R&B is what I started off doing. So it was like it was just for me trying to prove a point and getting in and learning, understanding the sonics and what makes these songs, what makes a country song country, what makes a reggae song reggae, what makes it an EDM record a EDM, like knowing all those things and just being able to navigate through those genres and try to compete in those genres, but against other people who that's all they do. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
yeah,
going against people who all they do is reggaeton every day. But I'm like, I'm gonna try it out. You know what I'm saying? I go in and I work with J Balvin on Energia, which was great. That was a great album. And then I ended up working with Luis Fonsi on the Despacito record, and it's just like I would have never in a million years thought my biggest song to date would be, predominantly Latin. It's
right.
crazy.
That's
That,
incredible.
yeah, that's like my big, and it's like one of the biggest songs of all time in history.
Yeah,
Like crazy.
all time.
Yeah,
No,
man. So,
that's huge. What do you think the through line of all of it is? Like you said, you come from R&B, which is known as such soulful music,
mhm.
and like I think there's something you're able to bring authenticity and genuine soulfulness and songwriting to these genres that might seem like surface,
They
pop
are.
stuff.
That's a part of the secret, man. The part of the secret is putting my soul
Yes.
in every genre, and that
That's
way,
what I hear. Yeah.
yeah, and that way you could like when I go around the world, man, I hear even if I haven't written a song, I hear me. Like I hear all my melodies on the radio, in the
Yeah.
clubs. I'm with Maluma. I'm looking at Maluma. I'm like, bro, like, and I'm hearing these songs come on in the club. I'm like, yo, those are my melodies. And he's like, Pooh Bear. He's like, your songs influenced the world for years. Like he said, you can't like, people study you and they study your style. And so I'm like, now, no matter what country I go to, what language, I hear myself. I hear my influence melodically.
Yeah.
And
It's amazing.
it's just really, it's one of those things where adding the soul to every genre, it allows people to resonate. And it's like something about soul that doesn't allow your emotions to deny it. And like when you put the right amount of soul, it moves people's emotions as opposed to just being pretty or, like all the, like you said, the surface things. It's like
Yeah.
when you put the soul, it's like now you find yourself needing to hear this song again, as opposed to, oh, it's cool. now you find yourself like your actual body, that you actually are yearning or you are missing yearning the frequency that was resonating with you, you know, because everything's frequency based.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
once that frequency taps and it hits you, it's like, oh man, I want to feel like that again. And even if you don't know you want to feel like that again, your body does. So all of a sudden you'll download it to your playlist, or you got to wake it like, I need to hear this song before I do anything, or I get in the car, let me put my song on. And it's frequencies that make you, you know, they lift you up, or they're gonna, you know, if you're going through a heartbreak, you're gonna, you know, feel more, it's like more sad, or it's like whatever it is. The song should be like a soundtrack to your life, and definitely it should move you. It should not just be there for like idle, and as an idle melody. It should be something that sticks with you and that you live with forever. And the reason why I feel like my records can, you know, you can go back and I can hear a song like Dance With Me playing in the club last night, and it's just, you know, I feel like the melodies are timeless, and you know, I feel like they resonate with people, and the frequencies resonate with the world. And that comes from, you know, just a lot of trial and error, man, and just writing 600 songs a year, you know, making sure
Wow.
I'm doing a minimum of 600 songs. On a slow year, I'm doing 600 songs, and just being brutally honest with myself, and knowing that everything I write is not amazing. And when you're able to be honest with yourself, I'm able to grow. Like, I'm still growing, because I know that I could be better. And I know that there's, you know, I need to grow, because everybody and their mom has stolen my melody. So I'm constantly in a state of, what's next? What can I create next for everybody to steal from me? That way, when I'm writing songs, they don't sound dated, because everybody and their mom has used all my melodies that I created. Like,
Right.
I wasn't influenced by music growing up. I wasn't, outside of, you know, lyric. I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music as a kid. So like, you
Oh,
know, so I
okay.
used to I would sneak and listen to I Just Called to Say I Love You by Stevie Wonder. Like, I would sneak. Like it was the worst shit
Wow.
ever. Yeah, like I was trying to listen to Too Short. I was trying to listen to I Just Called to Say I Love You by, like, the most innocent love song of all
Yeah.
time. And I'm like,
Right.
at late at night, 3 o'clock in the morning, sneaking, listening to and then that influenced me, but not enough to where I write Stevie Wonder melodies. You know what I mean? It's like, it
Yeah.
influenced me to where I wanted to make songs that made people feel like the way Stevie Wonder made me feel. But creating songs, I wrote so many songs like that sounded like nothing, because I had nothing to pull from. I couldn't go and tap into Marvin Gaye. I couldn't go tap into Luther Vandross, or, like, you know, the people that were coming up. I wasn't allowed access to them. So it forced me to create my own sound and my own melody. So now when you listen to my music, you can't relate it. You can't compare it to any older. You know, you can listen to Pharrell and be like, "Oh, that's Marvin Gaye influence." Or you can listen to certain producers, writers, and be like, "Oh, he really loved James Brown a lot." Or that person really is into Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? You can hear the
Yes.
influence melodically. And with me, you know, my success, like Peaches and Cream, doesn't sound like anything.
No,
Anywhere doesn't
it
sound
doesn't.
like anybody's melody. It doesn't. I didn't pull from anywhere. I didn't be like, "Oh, I'm gonna do my version of Frank Sinatra," or, you know, it was just new melodies that, you know, I was hoping that, you know, the artists I worked with could see them, because they weren't everyday melodies. And it takes time for you to have hits and hits and hits, for people to be programmed to the new frequency. And then now I look up and everything's my melody. Like, they
Yeah.
figured it out. They figured it out.
Right.
So
That's incredible, and so cool to hear you expand upon it, and explain like where it comes from, and
yeah.
even people need to obviously just look up your Wikipedia to see the
Uh
extent of
you know,
everything.
my Wikipedia sucks, by the way. Like, it's
Okay,
so
well, not
inaccurate.
Wikipedia, but they need to. We
My
need. We
discography.
need
Yeah,
one
they can
day
go to,
is
they can go to Pooh Bear Music, PoohBear.com.
okay. Pooh Bear
PoohBear.com.
Music,
Yeah. No, just
PoohBear.com.
just PoohBear.com. That's it. PoohBear.com, and you'll be able to see it goes back to like 1996, 97 of songs, you know, from Pink, you
Right,
know, Pink's first album. And but
crazy.
yeah, that's a way to really check my discography, is going to PoohBear.com.
Yeah, people need to check that, and like the and even we didn't even name so many of the songs. I mean, and you work so closely with Justin Bieber and
Yeah.
almost like gave him not like a second chance, but I feel like you've breathed a different
Yeah.
you
Yeah, man,
the same
he
way you
was he was
inputted the
gone.
soul right to everything else, you were
Yes.
able to
It was
bring out
so.
the soul
And he
within
was
him.
yes. Yeah, yeah. And that I you know what I want to say, no other artist in the world has ever valued me or believed in me the way that Justin Bieber does. And I joke, I'm like, man, it took all these years. I wrote all these big records with black artists. It took a Canadian to say my name out loud in public for me
Right.
to actually get like the credit that
Yeah.
and my thing is like I don't even really want like credit like that. I understand that the fans have to have a connection to the artist, and therefore, if a fan is listening to the music, he can't think that he has an emotional connection to this big black guy. It has to be, yo, I really relate to Justin, or I really relate to whoever they think, they feel like these words are coming from. So I
Hmm.
never really cared about my credit because I always got publishing. And I always, if you looked on the albums, I always got my credentials. But as far as
Right.
people saying my name or like interviews, nobody ever would mention my name in an interview. If they would just be like, oh no, I thought of this song, I was thinking of this, and they would create a whole new story of how they came up with something that I came up with. And
Right.
I got used to it over the years, because I just wanted to be able to buy my mom a house, man. I didn't care. All right,
Yeah.
I didn't want to be famous. I was like, I just want to be able to buy my mom a house and to be able to eat when we're hungry and all, the normal things that people want in life. And but it took Justin Bieber to like believe in me and be like, yo, even after Journals was the first album I wrote for Justin,
Okay.
and it didn't do well back then. It ended up doing well now, but I thought Justin was gonna be done with me because the label, they kind of sabotaged it on purpose, and I get it. He was in a dark place, so I understand it. But I didn't think Justin would ever work with me again after Journals was back then wasn't a success at that time, and he proved me wrong, man. I went on to do Purpose, 16 out of the 18 songs on Purpose, and I wrote
Wow.
changes the whole entire wrote and produced the entire album. And it for me, I've never got a chance to write that many. Like I've never had somebody believe in me that much. They're just on to the next writer, whoever they feel like is the next hot guy.
Right.
So I always gotta say thank you to Justin Bieber for believing in me more than any other artist in my whole career, and taking a chance with me, with multiple albums and multiple songs. And just I'll never take that lightly. I like to shed light on that because I worked with a
Yeah.
lot of artists in my culture that were the same color as me, and they just wanted to take the credit for themselves. So
That's interesting, and that's dope. That's a
yeah,
testament to him and who he is, I think, and his character,
it,
because he, didn't
it
have to do
is.
that, like you said. So that's
No,
huge.
he could have did like what everybody else did and just
Right.
made everybody else feel like But he's like, nah, we did this together, and that's all I kind of after he started doing that, I was like, you know what, that's fair. Like you don't have to. That's fair. You don't have to just take all my credit. You could just say we did it together, and I'm like really happy with that. And
Right. Right.
a lot of artists in other countries that I worked with that I had major success with, when I left those countries, they forgot about me, and in the interviews, they were like, and they were like, "Who'd you do this album with?" And they'd be like, "Oh no, I had somebody help me with a word here or there." But it was never like, oh, Pooh Bear did my album with me. So it was like for Justin to do it,
Right.
I was like, yo, I felt weird. I was like, yo, you don't have to do that. And he was like, I want everybody to know who you are and what you're responsible for. I want everybody in the world to value you like I value you. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not necessary. I was like, they have to fall in love with you. And not with they don't need to know that these words are coming from me. And he was like, "No, Pooh Bear, I need everybody to know." And it just was like a whole another level of security. And like, I just felt like everything kind of boils down to like self esteem. Like why would
Yeah.
somebody not want to give somebody some credit on something that they actually did if
Right.
they had self esteem? You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
they were confident about themselves, Like, no, I bring this to the table. I bring my voice. I bring my star power to the table. Like, it's equal. I can't have a hit record without a hit artist. So it's like it's still a collective, effort. And so I just, Justin was the only person to ever like lock in with me, and and our history, tells, it's like when people believe in me, we make a lot, we do a lot, we have big success, man. When I feel like I have to audition, I don't want to work with artists that I feel like I have to audition for. So,
I
with,
I get it. Yeah,
you
that
know what I'm
makes
saying? Like
sense.
I gotta
Yeah.
prove myself outside of my 600 million records that I sold. All right, let me prove myself to you. You know what I mean? And then really value your opinion. And that's the thing too. Like everybody, like all these labels and stuff, they always have opinions, but none of them have ever written a hit or produced a hit. So it's like,
Right.
what are you basing your theories off of? Like, have you written records that worked and written records that didn't work, and you're able to say, oh, I get it, this worked because of X, Y, and Z, this worked because of, and it's like, no, they just get paid, and they're supposed to have something to say and an opinion, but they don't, you know
Yep.
what I mean? They don't have a clue, man. I feel like the industry executives should be like producers and hit writers that like actually know and they've touched it and created it, and not just saying it because they're looking around the room and everybody's bobbing their heads and they're supposed to get it, but they don't
Yeah.
really get it, but they get paid to get it. You know what I'm saying? They get
Right.
paid to get it.
They got to show
So
their boss that they're
they
saying
got,
something.
yeah, yep, and that they had something to do with the record. Like, oh yeah, I
Yeah.
was the one that said, yo, maybe you should work with such and such. Like everybody just wants
Exactly.
credit for shit they ain't really, that has no meaning.
Yep. Do
So
do you DJ at all? Like, have you ever been a DJ or ever tried it?
no, I just worked with a lot of DJs, man. I actually thought about it, but for me, it's like anything that I feel like is gonna take me away from being creative, I just
Yeah.
stay away from it. I just don't want to. I've seen a lot of producers and writers have successful careers, and then they become they either go into a building, or or they might become a DJ, which is nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, it's like you just lose what got you in the position to where everybody loves you. Like people love you, and they want you in these positions because of what you've done, like because of the records we've written or produced. So like when you go in the building as an executive, like, oh, now I'm gonna be an executive. It's like the artists don't respect you anymore because now you don't want to work with them because you're an executive now. But you really, if it wasn't for those artists, the labels wouldn't even have looked at you to be an executive. So it's like I just always never wanted to lose myself, lose my creativity, do anything that's gonna take me away from what got me to where I am today. Is really important. And I've seen so many writers and producers come and go over the years, and they're just constantly, trying to, elevate, and like, all right, they got on suits, they're in the office, but then it's like, but that's not what got you to why people like you. Like people like you because of your talent. And then
Yeah.
for them, they want to go to the next level and be respected in the exec world, but then they lose everything because those executives only respect hits. And the
Yeah.
second you're not involved with a hit, or finding a hit, or connected to a hit artist, you lose your job. And now the only reason why they ever hired you is because of your success as a songwriter producer. So then you're back to zero, and at that time your sound's gone. You're done. So it's like for me, it's just always just being aware of those things, and not just taking up all like new things. And when people offer me big bags of money to do things, being like, yo, this is gonna affect my bottom line. This is gonna affect what got me to where people want to give me lots of money. So why would I stop doing what got me to where I am right now, based on me feeling like I want to be expected and I want to be respected in the executive world?
Yeah.
And or even as a DJ, I love, my friends are DJs. My best friends are DJs, man. Sonny and Ghetto, these are my closest friends. And of course, my I have to go Pasquale, who owns EDC, and these are my brothers. So I'm like, of course, I'm like, yo, I want to DJ, because I'm like, I could just go
Right.
out, I just perform and do festivals, and then of course it's like it's just not easy, man. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to take away from my ability to be able to write because now I'm
Yeah, I
just
think that's
focused on
important. Yeah,
DJing.
keeping that focus. Yeah,
Yeah,
like you
man.
said, like
And
not
just
losing. I mean, I think you haven't lost focus your whole career, it seems. And
no.
that's kind of like a running line of why you're successful. And you've kept your eye on what you're doing and what the important parts of it are.
Yeah, it's just easy to get comfortable. It's easy to get complacent. And I
Yeah,
think that's why most writers producers are only around for 3 years, because they start celebrating, man. They get one hit
true.
and they in the club popping bottles. They cock conceited. They want to be an artist. They don't want to work with, like, and then so when they're not hot anymore in the song and that song is gone, nobody wants to work with them because they changed. You know what I mean? Like, they're cocky.
Yeah,
And when the artist wanted to work with them, it's like, nah, I'm focusing on me right now. And it's like, wait a minute, you've always been a producer writer. How did you stop? When did you just start focusing on, forcing yourself to be on these songs? And, oh, you can't have this record unless I'm on there. Like, that's things that songwriters and producers start to do once they start feeling themselves, and then they'll
right,
look up and nobody's there for them anymore. Like, nobody wants their songs. Their sound is dated, and they haven't, and they were so into themselves that they didn't have a chance to grow. Because they felt
right,
like
right,
they felt like they made it, and I don't feel like I made it to this day. I could drive whatever, Rolls Royces, whatever, and I don't feel like I made it, man. And I just feel like I'm still learning and I'm still growing, and I want to get better. Like, I want to keep getting better, and I think that's how I stay. Like, I don't feel like everybody, like, I don't feel like I've been acknowledged in the music business. I feel like
right,
certain people acknowledge me, but overall, I'm I haven't been acknowledged, and it's kind of cool because it keeps a fire lit up under me. Like, yo, they don't see you. Like, no matter what you've done, I've written hits in every genre. They won't acknowledge me. They don't even have a song. They don't even have Songwriter of the Year in the Grammys. They have Producer of the Year and Record of the Year. See how much they
right,
value
which is
songwriters?
crazy. Yeah,
Because you wouldn't have a Producer of the Year unless you had a hit song. The
right,
Producer of the Year
exactly.
only is in that category because of their hit song that they had out that year, or plethora
That's
of
so
hit
crazy.
songs. So
Yeah.
if they took the songs off of it and just played the music, nobody wouldn't give a shit. People don't sing the music, they sing the song, but yet they don't value writers like they value producers. So hence why I started producing. You know what I mean? For my first 10, 15 years, I was top line. I mean, I'm like, oh, they don't respect me. I gotta actually, like, I didn't even get nominated for Where You Now because Diplo didn't want to give me producer credit. So when
Oh,
that
wow.
song won a Grammy, a song that I brought from my heart
Yeah.
and my soul,
Uh-huh.
only Skrillex, Diplo, and Justin Bieber won a Grammy. I didn't. And the song wouldn't exist if I wasn't born. There would be no
That's
Where You
crazy.
Now.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
and that's because I wasn't listed. I wasn't credited as a producer. But I brought the
Yeah.
song. There would be no song without Pooh Bear. So it's like, after learning and missing out on Grammys because they don't give a fuck about, excuse my language, they don't care about
Oh,
writers,
it's all good.
but we're the
Yeah.
ones, like, you can't sing a song without the song. The artist, like, I've heard songs that are a cappella. We've heard Yesterday by Boys and Men, we've heard Shy, and If I Ever. I've never heard of a hit beat on the radio on the Hot 100. I've just never heard of a hit beat I've
Yeah.
seen songs on the Hot 100 that were a cappellas. So
Right.
it means a lot. But like I said, right, as of now, I haven't been acknowledged, man, and I'm working hard so that not just for me, but for all writers to just be respected on the same level as a producer. Because without us, there would be nothing. There would be no music industry. There would be nothing. It would just be music. That's why there's a million producers and there's only like 5 writers. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, it's
There's
a very
five
small
major
community.
songwriters in the world, and there's like everybody makes beats.
Right.
My
Everybody.
dad made beat. My dad 80. He made beat. Like, everybody makes beats. So it's like,
Right.
what makes the beat special? It's the song. It's like, it's the song that goes on top of it that moves you. You don't wake up like, oh, I gotta hear that beat. Like, no, you want to hear the melody that moved you. So I'm working hard to be able to, for songwriters in a whole, to be acknowledged and not being just looked over, man, because they don't. I'm the first songwriter to charge a fee to write a song in history.
Oh,
They
really?
weren't paying. Yeah, like, they just like, well, you get publishing. I'm like, yeah, well, so does the producer. So how does
Right.
the producer get a fee to make a beat and they get money off of publishing and record sales? Like, well,
Right.
you know, you're the writer, so you're gonna make money whether they recoup their money or not. And I'm like, that's not fair. That's not fair. So I started back in 2001, 2002. I started charging, $3,000. I started off at like $3,500, up
Yeah.
to, and now today I'll charge somebody if I really, really, if I don't have the time and I'll charge somebody $200,000 for a song for me to go before I think of a word. You got to
Right.
send me a wire. So it's like I raised the bar. I as a songwriter, I started creating value for us. So now other writers can go and be like, "Well, give me $5,000," and they be like, "Well, we don't pay writers." Like, yeah, you do. You pay Pooh Bear, and they have to
Yeah.
be like, "This is true. We do pay Pooh Bear, but he's Pooh Bear. But you got to start off somewhere,
Yeah.
and you got to be valued." So I'm working as a writer, slash producer to be valued as a writer, and for writers in a whole to just be taken seriously and not just looked over, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
huge, yo.
I hate to get off, but it's 3 o'clock now. I love talking to you. It would be
It's
cool to
all
maybe,
good.
to do this again, man, to do a part two. I would love to do a
Yeah,
part
yeah,
two
we
of
should do a
this.
part two because you have such an inspirational story and so many amazing things have happened in your life from the beginning. And then also your whole entrepreneurial world with all your other
Yes.
businesses I want to
Oh my
talk
God.
about, and
Please,
H
please.
Factor Water and your
Yes.
joint venture, birthday
3D
music,
Live,
and
Wonder
Wonder
Bread, Def
Brett,
Jam. Yeah, the book in
Def
the bill.
Jam, the
I tell you this,
NFTs, all
yeah,
that.
oh my God. I do have a song, the book in the bill. Distant Shore is number 10 at radio. Thank God. As of
Hey,
Sunday, we're
nice.
climbing. We got the Joel Corey remix out. And I
Yep,
did that record with Sasha and Shindo and the Bill. And we got a
amazing.
whole album coming out called The Book in the Bill. So make sure you listen up for
Dope.
that. And please set up a part two and let's knock it out. Don't waste time, man.
Okay,
Set
we'll
up a
do this.
part
Pooh
two,
Bear,
and that way
thank
we
you
keep
for taking the
everybody
time.
we keep everybody on the, on the limb hanging on until the next
Yes.
episode.
It's a cliffhanger. It's the next
Cliffhanger.
episode.
Absolutely.
All right, yo, Pooh Bear, thanks for taking the time.
Yes, sir.
We will talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Great talking to you. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Part two coming
You
up.
too.
Happy birthday.
All right, part 2 coming.
All right.
Birthday. Happy birthday. Peace. All right, that was short and sweet. Thank you to Pooh Bear for coming on the show. That's right. We're not going to waste any time. We got to get him on for a part 2. There was so much to talk about. His story of growing up and all the things that happened to him is so amazing. You guys need to hear it. So look him up if you can and learn about that. And all of his things he has coming are just incredible. So thank you guys for tuning in. All my Beat Sorcerers, the 20 podcast is produced by Beatsource. Join us next week for more interviews as we discuss music that matters to DJs. I'm DJ Spider signing off. Peace.